You
the
know,
mafia pressing the button on somebody means something else.
yeah, I know that. I know that because I watched The Godfather. Hey, I gotta tell you, you may hate Donald Trump, you may love Donald Trump,
Yeah,
you may be indifferent, but the one thing that was different about Donald Trump running for president is everything he promised to do when he was running for president, he did.
yes,
Which you think about it, people forget that, right? You
yeah,
think about it, that's completely amazing because every single president running, they'd always, it's a joke, right? They
yeah,
promise you this, they promise you that, then they're elected, and then they come up with an excuse and why not to do it. Literally everything whether you liked it or not, I'm not commenting on his policies,
right, right,
but he did it. And
yeah,
he tried to do it the best of his ability, right?
yeah,
2 weeks in, the week before the Georgia primaries, Biden says, if I'm elected, you'll get your $2,100, right? Two
two
weeks into the thing,
thousand dollars.
yeah. 2 weeks into the thing, it's like, well, you're gonna get 1,400, I could get 2,000. It's a typical politician. That's why Trump was just a breath of fresh air
Yeah,
because he was honest with you. You know,
yeah,
that's why the press didn't like him because he was honest, and they don't want that. They
right,
want the lie,
yeah,
and it's like, well, yeah. I don't know what Biden's excuse was. I don't know, right? But I'm, me, I'm not big on the handout money, but
yeah,
being elected on a promise is a promise. The
yeah,
people that voted for him expected one thing, and they're gonna get another, and it's just a crappy thing to do. And I told my buddy, and he's like, "Well, he had to do that because the Republicans would have never went along with it." I go, "Well, they control everything. They control the House, they control the Senate, and they control the presidency." And he goes, "Well, they don't control the Senate. It's 50-50." I go, "Yeah, who controls the tying vote of the Senate? The Democrats. So basically, the Democrats own everything. So
Well,
the only,
well, Kamala Harris is the president of the Senate. She's the
yeah,
51st vote.
she's the tying vote. So
Right.
they control everything.
Yeah.
And it's like you have no excuse except that, they knew it was a bad idea. So, but now they have no choice but to give something. So
Yeah.
they give something. And
Yeah.
that's why I detest, Biden.
Yeah.
He's just a regular politician. And they're going to take this as extra $600 per person and they're going to stuff it in their own pockets somehow. That's what they're going to do. And
Yeah.
that's what all the politicians have done.
Yeah.
They're just
Hey,
such contemptible
just,
people.
the other day, the other day, Biden made a statement that by 2035, all federal vehicles are going to be electric cars.
Yeah.
The day before that, Nancy Pelosi's husband, can't remember if he bought $1 million worth or 1 million shares of Tesla.
Yeah.
And it's those types of things that the establishment, the Democrats in general, and the establishment Republicans, that's what they've hated Trump for
Yeah. They
over the
don't
last
come
4 years.
down on this guy, right? Buying 1 million shares. But what they are coming down on is the people on Robinhood, buying
Yeah,
GameStop thing.
yeah, yeah,
They've literally hardballed these people into
yes.
changing their ways of doing things.
And
But they
and
don't come down on this guy.
and it's
This
not even stuff that representatives and senators um, are doing out on the House floor. It also has to do with decisions that are being made by the agencies within the government, the Department of Justice, the CDC, all the agencies. See, they, at the FDA, the FCC, all of my, just drawing a blank on them off the top of my head, but all of them. So like when a what is the one that does the what is the agency that does the environment?
the EPA.
The EPA, yeah,
Yeah.
like the EPA. The EPA quietly, some agency that nobody ever really pays any attention to, when they make a decision, somebody in Congress the day before had bought stock that is going to go up based on that decision. They hated that Trump wasn't telegraphing those decisions from his cabinet to them. So they for 4 years they weren't making the dough that they wanted to make. Again, I can't prove any of this stuff, but
Yeah.
that's what was going on. Is the establishment, the people that have been in DC their whole life, they didn't know what Trump was going to do. Now
Mm.
Trump, coming back to to what you said at the beginning, with keeping his promises, he was in the private sector for his whole career. He had to be upfront and honest as he could with the people that he worked with, or they wouldn't work with him again.
Yeah.
So he had to sort of keep his promises. Yeah, I know there were negotiations and everything like that, but and backroom dealings, and people in business get screwed. And Trump was obviously involved with that, as any businessman would be. But for the most part, a man's word has to be his bond in business, or people just won't work with him. But in Congress or in DC, your word is not your bond. There is no word.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, nobody's paying attention.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what the EPA is working on right now. And there's nothing we can do about it, even if we did. They're just going to do what they do.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. See, if people keep thinking that there's a cult of Trump, and maybe there's a little bit of people that are just too much fanboy of the man Donald Trump, but it was what Donald Trump did. He was an outsider that came in and threw a monkey wrench into the corruption of all of this shit going on in DC.
The cesspool corruption in,
Yes,
quote unquote, the swamp
mm-hmm.
that Washington D.C. was.
Right,
and that's why I liked Donald.
Yes, me too. That's
why when he wasn't elected, it was like, fuck, here we go.
And his tweets and all this stuff and against the media and everything, he shined a spotlight on all of these cockroaches, and they hate him for it. They hate him for it because they're the cockroaches. And so again, it wasn't that Trump is the most brilliant man that ever lived and everything, but his policies were sound. They made sense, and they were in the best interest of all Americans. Okay, they weren't in the best interest of illegal immigrants. I'll grant you that. But they were in the best interest of all Americans, all American policy overseas, all American foreign policy. They were all in the best. But do you think, first of all, anybody that thinks that Biden is actually going into meetings, listening to his cabinet, and making decisions based on their input, they're out of their mind. Our country right now is being run effectively by a shadow government. Biden has dementia. He has dementia. That's not a name calling or anything. He has it. He is an old man. He is not running things. They're coming up to him. Unelected people are coming up to him and saying, sign this. We're going to do this. And he's like, yeah, okay. All right. That sounds good. Yeah, I'll do that. They'll never be able to put him in front of a room full of press. They won't. They may have press in the room, and he'll come out and he'll read from a teleprompter, but he is not able to handle extemporaneous questions from people. We've seen him do it on the campaign trail. Somebody asks him a question about Russia or something like that, and he makes a joke about it because he doesn't know what's going on. Yeah. And it's only going to get worse every day. The other thing too is what we're seeing going on in the country right now. I just saw that CNN's ratings have gone down 44%, and Jeff Zucker is only going to stay.
Is that true, or is that just people saying it?
No, I just saw the numbers. I just watched them put up the ratings numbers. Yeah, it's gone down 44% since Trump left, and I mean, we saw this happening. CNN's been built on a foundation of clay anyway. I mean, they've never, they've been terrible. And now Bezos resigns. Geez, I wonder if Bezos is going to buy CNN. Yeah. Zucker just said the president and CEO said he's only going to stay on until the end of the year. In other words, he's getting kicked out. So I think Bezos is coming in and going to shake everything up. But we're back to the swamp. We're back to Nancy Pelosi and her husband. See, Nancy Pelosi can say, I did what my husband does. I have no control.
They've made hundreds of millions of dollars off this ridiculous California high-speed train that everybody knew was a fallacy. They knew it was stupid.
Right.
I mean, you
Right.
have this high-speed train between two desert cities
Yeah.
that's supposed to go up to Sacramento, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knew it was ridiculous. But this guy and his buddies have been soaking the California taxpayers for years with
Yeah.
this ridiculous project. Now what they're talking about again is California to Vegas. Oh yeah, we need to do a California to Las Vegas high-speed train. Oh, it
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then they're floating that idea again. It's like,
Yeah.
you people are
Yeah.
idiots. You
Yeah.
know,
And
these.
but now they're back. See, again, that's the thing. China can't give Joe Biden money, for decisions that he makes, that benefit China. They can't do that because Biden is an elected official. So what do? They give it to his son.
Yeah.
They give it to his son. So Nancy Pelosi can sit out there and go, I have nothing to do with my husband's investments. He's just a savvy investor, spends the whole day on the computer looking at this stuff. No, we know this is bullshit, but she has that plausible deniability. And there were Republicans that are the same way. They wanted this too. That's why they hated Trump. They hated Trump because Biden's office calls up Pelosi's office the day before they make an announcement, and she goes home and talks to the husband and says, buy Tesla or buy Volt. But
she's probably one of the ones making the decision,
of course,
and then she writes the paper up, and then she shoves it in front of Biden. Go, here, sign this. I just bought a lot of Tesla stocks.
Yeah, there was something she did with, I think, Citicorp years ago. She got Citicorp stock, and it was just before she had to whip up the votes for a vote that would have benefited Citicorp, and she had bought the stock, or they had given her stock like a week beforehand. And again, like all of this stuff was going on, but finally, in DC, with Republicans and Democrats alike, they didn't have Trump wasn't going off and saying, hey, come on here, you're going to hear this deal we're going to be doing, so get in on it while the getting's good. Now, for 4 years, their spigot had been maybe not shut off, but at least turned down to a drip.
That's why they labeled him an insane madman. You never know what he's going to do.
That's it. Now, all of the media place that was just living solely on Trump hatred. Trump's not there, and Trump is doing something totally brilliant right now. He's silent.
Yeah.
He's silent. We haven't heard a peep out of him over anything, and the media was like expecting him to just, put a bullhorn on the porch at Mar-a-Lago and start shouting everything that Biden. He's been totally silent. So what is the media supposed to do? They don't have Trump anymore. Nobody wants to watch their news. We're back to the old corruption stuff where we're being lied to by the entire White House administration and Congress that's run by the Democrats now. They don't have anything. So what are they turning on? Trump's not there. So let's turn on Trump supporters.
Yeah.
So they're domestic terrorists. They need to be programmed, and we're blah, 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 all this stuff. And how people can't see that is beyond me. They're not looking. They just want to be fed whatever the phone through Silicon Valley, whatever the phone tells them to believe. Here, go on Instagram, and we're going to have this. Instagram has 1 million views. Listen to this, and it's just like a bumper sticker,
Yeah,
And now
it's got to be true.
Yes, that's what's going on here, and people don't realize it because most people just don't pay attention. And when they do quote unquote pay attention, it's a woman that lives downstairs. Every time I walk by her window, CNN is on morning, noon, and night. CNN 24 hours. She is getting, not only that, it's just boring. They're on an endless loop.
Yeah.
It's like watching ESPN all day. It's the same thing.
That's why they had to go to these shows. Hey, did another Trump clan member get nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize?
I think Jared Kushner did. His son.
I thought, son-in-law or his son, something like that.
Husband, yeah.
Yeah, it's like another one. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, how could...
I think it's 3 now. I think it's 3.
Yeah, it's the third one. He was, of course, nobody knows Trump was nominated for 2 Nobel Peace Prize.
Yes, but everybody on planet Earth knows that BLM, Black Lives Matter, was nominated for a Peace Prize.
Yeah.
Which we're calling it the mostly peaceful prize.
Yeah, I know. The most hated terrorist group on Earth.
I know.
Hey, I got to run upstairs. I'll talk to you a bit.